This is Heather B. Live.
Thank you. On right now. This is Heather B. It's heads only you. How I felt about the rap game. Who am I? Heather B. I can't deny. Good boy, big up. Now hear this. And if they don't know, I'm here to tell them.
Yo, sound man. Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up.
Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Hey there, Heather B Live crew. It is Friday, December 16th, 2022. And it's your girl, Reecie Colbert, filling in for the wonderful Heather B. Hey, Heather, hope you having a Friday today. As usual, you all are used to the production crew. I got to welcome them to the show on this beautiful Friday. First of all, hey, Yaya.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Friday, my favorite day of the week. Everything is well. All is right with the world at the moment.
Absolutely. We had a rainy day yesterday, but I think the sun is out today where I'm at. So it's already starting off on a good foot for me. Hey, Amina.
Happy Friday.
I love this theme song you have. I still continue to envy the wonderful theme songs that y'all have. Amina, how you feeling today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling good in the universe, as my brother Clay would say. And you know how Clay does.
Yes, I do.
Hey, Stephanie.
What's up? How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm jealous of your sunny weather because it was raining yesterday in New York and it is raining today. So it's not a good weekend to start off, I should say.
Because, you know, people are out there doing last minute shopping, last minute holiday parties, and we ain't got time to be fighting the elements, okay? The elements need to cooperate with our festivities, right?
Exactly. We only have like a week left, so yeah.
I know. What are you going to do to make it count? What's the one thing you like, okay, before 2023, I got to get my act together on?
That is a good question. I have to think about that. I will get back to you.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to put you on the spot.
I really want to clean up my closet. There's a ton of stuff in there that I want to donate, and I've been putting it off, but I would like to put everything in some bags and take it to Goodwill. That is what I would like to do before the new year.
I think you can make it happen. That's been one of my goals I've been working on, is organizing and purging. So we are sisters in the organizing game. Okay. So we're going to both get it done together.
Okay. We're going to check in with each other in the new year to make sure it was done too.
Absolutely. It's funny. I've had a massive bag of clothes that's been sitting on my landing part for probably 6 months now. So before the end of the year, that bag is going out the door, no matter what. It already has the clothes in it, but it needs to just go out the door. Okay, Amina, I'm gonna give you a chance to think on it. I put Yaga on the spot. I put Steffi on the spot. I'm gonna give you a chance to think on it. Callers, we always welcome and enjoy your calls, even if it's me filling in. We still like to hear from you. 866-801-8255. As you all know, it's No Judgement Fridays, and I am actually really, really excited to be here on No Judgement Fridays, because to me, I feel like Soul Food Thursdays is kind of hard because I don't cook, so I have to come up with something different. But I tell you that I'm a messy bee who loves drama, okay? So this is my kind of day. Today, we have a couple of topics that have been burning up the social media airwaves. And I was thinking about this, about how, you know, we're seeing more and more non-traditional relationships. And the big shocking news this week was that Diddy, aka Love, Brother Love, or whatever he's going by now, Sean Puffy Combs, announced the arrival of a new baby girl. And we know that he has been publicly seen dallying around with Yung Miami, and she definitely ain't had no baby. So we were like, okay, what's going on? Is he being literal when he says he has a new child, or is he mean like a dog? You know, some people have my fur babies and stuff like that, but let's get to the story. Over the weekend, Diddy announced the birth of his latest child, a daughter, Love Sean Combs, via Twitter. Okay. And not only has he been dating Yung Miami, but he's been dating other women publicly. We've seen posts from 50 Cent's baby mama, Daphne Joy, who's a model, that suggests that they're in a relationship, or I shouldn't say relationship, a strong word. And then he was also spotted out by the paparazzi with another young woman who's an influencer, Instagram model of the sorts in New York. So he clearly has, a couple of people in his, little black book. But what made me wonder is, can this kind of non-traditional situation work? But let's hear from the sources. First of all, let's hear from what Yung Miami had to say, or had to ask Diddy when it first kind of became confirmed that they were a thing. Let's hear that clip.
I feel like you single, well, we go together. So how would you feel if I be telling people that I'm single because we go together? I'm not laughing.
Yo, hold on.
It ain't no hold on.
We go together now?
Real bad.
Okay. Whatever you say.
I like that.
Now, I thought it was funny. We go together real bad, even though they don't really go together. They single, they go together. We all are confused about the situation, okay? But Diddy gave it a little more clarity when he visited the Breakfast Club. And to me, it don't really sound like they go together. But y'all can be the judge of what Diddy had to say. Let's play that clip.
Carisha say y'all go together real bad.
Bad.
But she also says she's single, so.
Yeah. I mean, Carisha's single. I'm single. And
it's working for you.
No, I'm saying she's one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. This girl is I'm so blessed to have met this human being. You know what I'm saying? Just the way she makes me laugh, the way she, rides with me, and you know what I'm saying, the support without it having to be, oh, this is my girl, or this is this situation. You know what I'm saying? She's like has been a real friend. And you don't get, you don't find best friends later on in life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so she's one of my best friends, and that's really the definition for it. That's my shorty wop. She always gonna be laced, always gonna be hot, smiling.
I love seeing your dynamics on Carisha, please.
Okay, well, you heard from Diddy. That's his shorty wop. That's his best friend, but they single. I wonder, he didn't put a title on this, but there is a such thing as polyamory and polyamorous relationships. And the way that it's defined is polyamorous people have multiple loving, intentional, and intimate relationships at the same time. Polyamory is a type of open or non-monogamous relationship that follows certain guidelines. Polyamory specifically refers to people who have multiple romantic relationships at the same time. And it's also referred to as a form of ethical non-monogamy that involves committed relationships between two or more people. So don't be shy out there. 866-801-8255. Would you sign up for a polyamorous relationship? Do you already have a polyamorous relationship? Or does this sound like a glorified way of saying side chick, or a glorified way of saying that y'all just screwing around, messing around? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I respect that there are people that don't necessarily subscribe to the traditional forms of relationship. And to be honest, if you know that you don't have the capacity to be monogamous, and you are honest about it and upfront about it with the person, everybody agrees, then hey, different strokes for different folks. I can't be mad at that. However, I do think that it gets a little tricky when it's public, because a lot of things work, in my view, privately. Then when other people find out about it, then it's a different story, because then you have to deal with the embarrassment, you have to deal with other people's opinions on it. And we saw some of that fallout this week when the when the baby girl was announced. People were dragging the hell out of Yung Miami. and, you know, kind of like, ha ha, you know, just making a mockery of her. And such to the point that Diddy actually came out and he clarified and he defended Yung Miami. And he said that she is not his side chick. He said that she's very special. And this is what he said, I quote, Yung Miami is not my side chick, never has been, never will be. She's very important and special to me. And I don't play about my shorty wop. I don't discuss things on the internet, and I will not start today. That's discussing things on the internet, though, Diddy, just to be clear. And then he said to follow up, so think what you want, but know that if you do something to hurt mine, I'm going to come to your house and we're going to talk about it like human beings. So, Amina, let me start with you. If both people agree, or if it's a polyamorous situation, it's multiple people agree to be in a situationship, relationship, whatever you want to call it, do you think that that makes it more likely to be successful? Or do you think that eventually it's going to go from sugar to shit, no matter how much people say that they agree to it up front?
I definitely think it's the second one is going to go from sugar to shit, because I feel like no matter what, there's always that one person that probably has more feelings for that one person compared to the rest of them. So I definitely think it's going to go from sugar to shit.
Exactly. And then if you look at, like, let's say with Diddy and Yung Miami and the other women in the picture here, you know, she's the celebrity. She's, you know, her stock has gone up, let's be clear, from dating Diddy, and his stock has gone up as well. But I think that there's kind of an expectation that the more famous you are and the more successful you are and the more wealthy you are and the more beautiful you are, that your kind of status is going to kind of scare other people off. And we see that these girls is like, well, I'll be number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 because I'm still getting something out of the situation. Yaya, what's your take on this situation with Yung Miami or just polyamorous relationships in general?
Different strokes. I think that as long as people are being honest and treating each other with respect, if it works for them, it works for them.
I hear you. I kind of feel that way too. Like, first of all, I only go to bed with one man every night because I'm married. So I really don't care what nobody else does, you know. But I do think that, you know, unfortunately, I don't think it's so much the relationship part that kind of breaks things up. I think it's the public opinion part that breaks things up, you know, and they're not broken up, I guess, because they're not really together or something. So I don't know. It's confusing for me, but yeah, I mean, different strokes for different folks, but just if I would just recommend you keep it on the low. We're gonna go to a caller, Paulette in Atlanta. Welcome to the Heather B Live Show. What's your take on this situation?
Hi, Reecie. Thanks for taking my call. Hell no, I wouldn't sign up for it. I'm married too.
Okay.
And for me, I think it's a glorified way of saying side chick. And see, in my opinion, I feel like it's one thing where if you're single and you're kind of doing this type of thing, but I think it's when you bring a child into it and you still want to try to play it like we're just friends. That's a whole nother dynamic, because at the end of the day, it's still like having your cake and eat it too, because now that she has had this child, having children do a lot to your body. You don't know how you know, some women go through postpartum. You never really know what it's going to do. And so while he's out here saying this is my girl, my buddy, he's still free to date and do other things where she's not, although they're saying they're single, she's going to be a lot more limited. And 9 out of 10, that child is going to be with her, not with him. So I just think that it's just, you know, all these different terms that people are using, they're quite annoying because it's just a way of glorifying some of the behavior. But at the end of the day, no one really benefits to me a lot of times, but the person, you know, it's one or the other benefit. I don't think both ends up benefiting at the end of it.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you that somebody is disproportionately winning in the situation. It's not equal, like we both benefit equally. To be clear though, Yung Miami didn't have the baby. So Shorty Wop didn't have the baby. It's a whole nother woman that's not a public figure that had the baby. So, but you bring up a good point. I mean, let's think about like Nick Cannon. I mean, I don't know if what he has with these women that he impregnates is called polyamorous relationships. I don't know. I'm really, really confused if there's a romantic part outside of procreating with each other to their relationships. But to your point about having a kid involved, when you have 6 or 7 or 8 women who are having kids, in some cases, multiple kids by the same man, and sometimes at the same time, that is a really, really, really tricky. I'm not gonna say crazy. I'm gonna say tricky situation, right? I mean, what do you think about Nick Cannon?
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. I think he took the whole be fruitful to a whole nother level. So yeah, I definitely that's a little bit troublesome to me, because you can't give those kids the attention that they need when you got so many of them like that. Like, you know, but yeah, for me, I just think it's just a glorified label, and someone is disproportionately gonna miss out. It's not gonna be equal satisfaction in that case.
Yeah, no, I agree. Thank you, Paulette.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. And, you know, I mean, benefits are relative. Like, for instance, with Yung Miami, she got a Bentley. Her stock has gone up in terms of being from, like, you know, a rapper, let's just say like that, to now she has a very successful podcast. She's getting higher end invites than she would have otherwise gotten. So her stock has gone up no matter what the situation is with Diddy and how they continue romantically. So she's definitely getting something out of it. And then for Diddy, I mean, he's becoming more relevant to a younger crowd, because he is in his 50s, and I'm not ageist. At 50 don't mean that, hey, life is over and you just washed up and old. But I'm just saying, I think that he's making himself more relevant to a younger crowd, not so much for his music, but for these kind of dating shenanigans. Stephanie, I'm going to give you the last word on this before I throw another topic out there and we take more calls. What's your take on polyamorous or non-traditional relationships?
I don't think they can't work.
Okay.
And I feel like everyone has to be aware of what their role or whatever is going to be in this relationship. But I don't know if it could work long term. Short term, probably year or two. I feel like it could work for multiple, whatever, like a throuple or whatever. But I think long term, people are going to develop feelings differently, and it seems that way. Yung Miami, in those clips that we played, it seems like she's way more into the relationship than Diddy is, even though he's calling her his best friend. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I would tend to agree with you, because I mean, she has been losing it on social media all week. I mean, she has been going back and forth with another person who was dating Diddy or Love or whoever you want to say, a lot longer than her. And so when you're kind of posing in front of fancy cars and on private jets, and then it looks fabulous, and it looks like you're kind of unbothered and it's working for you. But when you're having Twitter beefs with people and y'all calling each other all kind of names and saying all kind of crazy stuff, then it starts to look like, girl, you are embarrassing yourself low key. I don't know if this is really working out for you the way that it looked like it was working out for you when you was just unbothered, rich, and fabulous. Okay, let's go to Tim in Ohio.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm listening to this discussion. Really, I think it's pretty much nothing to do about nothing. I mean, everybody wants to live the lifestyle of the rich and famous and sleep with each other and make children that are truly unwanted. I think this is a lot of waste of time, and we have this type of nonsense and time being wasted throughout America, and some people are becoming very wealthy and famous for doing much about nothing but being on Twitter, being on Facebook, and calling themselves a reality star. I think it's a waste of all of our time.
I hear you, Tim. Thank you for your call. And I mean, he's right. There are people that are being famous just for being on social media. So I can't argue with him on that one. Let's welcome Gail from Delaware. Hey, Gail.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So listen, I'm an old school person, and what I would say is I don't understand all. I hear what the young folks and whomever are saying about this polyamorous relationship, but my reality is when people lay down together, somebody's gonna come up with some feelings. And the reality of my thinking is, I had a family member that tried that, and it didn't work out too well for them. And I think in most cases, men in particular can't tolerate it. Their ego won't follow through with what they say the plan is. And so I think it's a bunch of baloney in a lot of ways, and maybe I'm just too old school, but I think it takes some really, really ego-less people to make it work, and that's just my piece on it.
You know what, Gail? I'm glad that you mentioned how sometimes men can't handle it, because a lot of times, I mean, in this situation, Diddy is living his best life because he's the one that has, you know, half a dozen women that he's seeing. But I do wonder, would it be the same situation if it was the other way around, if he was one of the 5 men that Yung Miami was talking to? So I think that's a good point. You know, men and women, both of them can catch feelings, and both of them can you know, decide that the situation doesn't work for them. We have another person hanging on, but I want to throw this other story out there because this was big news that came out this week. Rapper Gunna, who faced RICO charges along with 27 other members of Young Thug's, who's another rapper's YSL crew, denies allegations that he quote unquote snitched on his crew to secure an early release. Gunna, if you don't remember, was arrested, or if you haven't heard this story, was arrested and charged in May after the feds accused him of conspiring to violate Georgia's Racketeer Influenced and Corruptions Act, Corrupt Organizations Act, which is RICO. On Wednesday, the rapper agreed to a plea deal. Both an Alford plea and a no contest plea are the functional equivalents of a guilty plea. If you don't know about Alford pleas, a defendant who enters an Alford plea pleads guilty but claims to be innocent. With a no contest plea, a defendant accepts punishment but does not admit guilt. So both kinds of, regardless if it's no contest or if it's Alford, it's a conviction. Okay. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison as part of the plea deal. One of the years commuted to time served, while the remaining 4 were suspended. So it's only basically a year sentence that he's already essentially served. A lot of people were shocked by his abrupt release because it wasn't looking too good for him for a while, him or Young Thug, because he had kept being denied bond to get out on bail. And fans speculated that Gunna may have, I don't like this word, but this is what people used to call it, quote unquote, snitched on his fellow crew members. But in a statement to Complex, the rapper shot down the rumors. He says, "When I became affiliated with YSL members in 2016, I did not consider it a gang, more like a group of people from Metro Atlanta who had common interests and artistic aspirations." He continued to write, "My focus of YSL was entertainment, rap artists who wrote and performed music that exaggerated and glorified urban life in the Black community." And he went on to add that he has not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any parties in the case, which includes YSL founder Young Thug. So this was a big story, but you know what I wanted to kind of talk about with you all, Heather B. Live crew, is this whole notion of no snitching. And, you know, this whole notion of people have been saying free Gunna, free, you know, Young Thug. And, you know, you want to get the people out of jail, but then when they get out of jail and they do what they got to do to get out of jail, then it's like, you're a snitch or you should have just stayed locked up. And I just think that is so counterproductive. I think it's so ridiculous. If you are actually witness to some of the crimes that these people in the YSL gang, alleged gang, are being accused of, like murder, all kinds of violence, gun violence, and just everything under the sun they've been charged with. Now, I'm not that you're innocent until proven, you know, guilty. However, if you are witness to those things, then damn right you should be snitching. Why would you sit around and let people out there terrorize the community? And then, and this is, you know, the Atlanta area that we're talking about, and people talk about curfews. You know, we had this discussion on, I think I can't remember what show it was now, to be honest with you, but we had a discussion, I think it was Clay actually, about curfews for teens because of the violence against, you know, amongst youth in Atlanta. But then you have the reason why you have perpetuated violence is because people don't want to quote unquote snitch. Look at what happened with rapper Takeoff. There were 30 people in the direct vicinity of him being shot. And this is a famous, you know, beloved rapper. 30 people, and the police in that case said nobody or very few people actually came to give a statement about what happened. Obviously, people saw what happened, but they didn't come forward. So this whole no snitching, you know, like attitude that you have is crazy. I mean, not you, but the attitude that we have in our community, and not everybody feels this way. But I was just disgusted to see so much of the feedback about Gunna getting released. Oh, he must have snitched. Y'all don't know how this works. There ain't no way he could have got out without snitching. Number one, if he did snitch, good. Because I hope that means that somebody who was a menace, a violent menace to society, is no longer on the streets to terrorize people at the gas station, at the grocery store, at the mall, at the movies, minding their business. I hope that's the case. But I think we really need to get it together when we glorify criminal behavior, when we demean a person who takes some degree of accountability. You know, I don't know how you feel about whether his guilt or innocence to it. He did not acknowledge his guilt, but I don't see a problem with acknowledging that you played a role in an organization that has been accused of many really violent and important things. So quick comment from you, Amina. What is your reaction?
I'm definitely with you on that. I feel like when the person is in jail, they're like, oh, free them. And then once they get out, they're like, oh, you're a snitch. So I'm like, well, which one is it? Do you want them out? Or, you know, like, so I'm definitely with you on that.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And, you know, like I said, if he snitched, I would. Good, you know, but y'all really need to keep the same energy of free this person. It's like almost like people want people to get away with something. Unless, of course, we talking about Brittany Griner, then it's, well, she should have just been locked up for 9 years in a Russian labor camp because she had a little bit of weed. Then that's a different energy. But when it comes to the rappers, it's like free this person. So I just wanted to throw that out there for the Heather B Live crew. What's your take on this whole no snitching thing? What's your take on a person who's in jail that's trying to get the hell up out of jail and doing what they need to do that? I mean, do you think it's justified to kind of, you know, he says he didn't do this, but is it justified to say, all right, I'm going to go on ahead and tell what happened because I'm trying to get the hell up out of jail? So 866-801-8255. Before we go to a break, real quick, hey, Tanya from Kentucky, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I apologize. I'm in the mountains. I called to talk about the first topic, but just real quick on the snitching and the Gunner issue. I'm not up to speed. You gave a great synopsis about it, but I'll just talk about the snitching part. And for me, that term runs through me, and I think it's just a way that we can't get out of our own way in the Black community, and I think it enables us. It keeps us. Our communities, they're not protected. We think we're protecting ourselves, but we're not. We're left vulnerable. I think that it keeps us from growing and it keeps us from thriving. And I'll have to call back a whole nother show to keep going on about how I feel about that. But
I know, that's right.
But I called about the polyamorous. I can't never pronounce it correctly, but because I don't want anything to do with it. But I called to talk about that real quick, just from two standpoints. I do think that people can do whatever they want. I mean, obviously we know that. But for me and my personal opinion and perception, I look at it from a safety and a stability standpoint. And I say a safety standpoint because there's a lot of mental health issues right now that cause life to be very complicated. And there's people that are having trouble, a lot of people that are having trouble being whole in a relationship with just one person. When you add layers of other people, yeah, we can say they agree, but there's, like someone said earlier, there's always a point where someone's emotions start to have more of a headwind than the other person, and you just don't know what people are capable of. When emotions are high, ration is low, and anything can happen, and I just think it's a high-risk relationship. That's what I think from a safety standpoint. From a stability standpoint, when you start adding kids, I think that it is unfortunate. I think that there are too many I love black love. I love love, but I love black love. And I just think that because life is so complicated, because there is so much to deal with, there has to be a really hands-on approach to raising kids right now. And, you know, it was different. I'm a single mom. It was different trying to raise my daughter in the 2000s or whatever. But now it's even more different. And you really, if you can have an opportunity to put two parents in the home, we have got to take advantage of that, because one person needs to always be available, because it is very difficult out here in this world. And not having the support that these kids absolutely need today, it's high risk also. And I think it's dangerous and a touch reckless. I mean, in my opinion, not to say that they're reckless, I just think that it is insensitive, and that we've got to think more about the lives that we're bringing into this world, because those children are truly our future, and we've got to give them more than they were getting before, because the life is just too hard right now. It's too hard to be a single parent. Yeah, we can do it. Yes, we're resilient, but is it what we have to do? No. Let's thrive. Let's learn to not just survive. We got to learn how to thrive, and we got to teach our kids that while they're little. But it takes two.
I hear you, Tanya. I mean, you make so many valid points. I'm fortunate enough to have a very wonderful husband who's a hands-on dad, and thank God for that, because doing this whole mom stuff by myself, I would definitely be pulling my hair out every 5 seconds, and I would be very much struggling. So shout out to everybody, single parents, mothers, single fathers, who are doing it, because, you got to do what you got to do. You got to hold your kids down. We got more calls coming in. I see you, Jamie, Casey, DJ. Keep calling in, 866-801-8255. We got to take a break, pay some bills. We'll be right back. Heather B Live crew. Hey, y'all. Heather B Live crew. It's your girl, Reecie Colbert, filling in for the wonderful Heather B. We are back. That, in case you didn't recognize it, was Gunna pushing P. So if you I don't know who this Gunna person is, I never heard this person, I don't know what you're talking about, you might have heard pushing P. You might have heard that song. So I wanted to give you a little idea of who we're talking about. Calls are still coming in, 866-801-8255. It's No Judgement Friday. That means we're going to talk about some stuff that's a little controversial, but it's no judgment zone. You can feel how you feel about it. We're going to have a conversation. We are talking about two things right now. Number one, we talked a little bit about Diddy, his new baby, his relationship or non-relationship with Yung Miami and a bevy of other women, and just how folks feel about polyamorous relationships or non-traditional relationships. Can they work, or are they shit shows low key? And we're also talking about rapper Gunna, who after nearly a year in prison has been freed as a result of him taking an Alford plea in the case of the YSL RICO charges that were filed against him. So he claims that he did not, quote unquote, snitch. There have been other people who have said that's not possible. Now, mind you, they're not people who are lawyers or judges. They are just rappers or other people with opinions on social media. So take it with a grain of salt. But he's saying he didn't snitch. My position is, if he did snitch, good, because that means you're probably taking somebody off of the streets who is a menace to society, a person who is being violent, a person who is taking something from somebody they have no business doing. So even if he did snitch, good. More people should be out there snitching, because we only saw about 50% at most the crimes. I know on Law and Order, it's always the thing is solved, CSI, everything gets solved, but in real life, that ain't really how it goes down. So we're taking calls right now. Okay, let's see. Jamie, you've been holding on the longest. So Jamie, North Carolina, what's your take on the situation?
Well, I want to make a little small comment first on the polyamorous thing.
Okay, sure.
And then I get to the serious part. As far as the polyamorous, I feel like, personally, the one man, one woman concept, I believe that's man-made. I believe that's to control people. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I don't believe we are built to be monogamous. I think that's something we choose to do. And I believe if you choose to do it, you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you choose to go into a marriage with a woman or a man, that's what y'all do. But I do believe that if you feel that you know yourself, because, see, a lot of people don't discover themselves until after they get married. And if you feel like that's something you could do before you get married, and y'all put that in the vows and y'all come to that understanding, go for it.
Okay, Jamie, now let me ask you, because you called in and it's no judgment. What are you saying as that relates to you? Are you a person who does not subscribe to monogamy, or what's your situation? If you don't mind telling the audience and myself, because I'm nosy.
Oh, I subscribe to monogamy because I'm married, and that's the vow I made to my wife.
Okay.
Right.
But you just don't necessarily.
In self-discovery, I was wondering, why is monogamy so hard?
Okay.
Why is it, I'm speaking from a man's perspective, because
Right.
when I talk to women about this, they see it a little different. Why is it so hard? Why do I got to break my neck to keep from falling in trouble? My natural instinct is to go towards it. But that's the one internal strife I have that I have to fight myself on. And, through a little bit of reading and stuff like that, I do believe it's not it's not natural. And it is a choice. Like anything else we do, that we have to choose to be a certain way. I believe it's a choice. And I made a commitment to my wife. That's why I choose to be monogamous.
Well, that's awesome, Jamie. I'm glad that you have made the commitment, even if you don't necessarily think that it's, it's a constructed thing. You're still doing the right thing by your vows that you committed to. I'm not going to say right thing because it's, everybody has a different idea of right. But according to the vows, as you mentioned, you are doing right by your wife. So I think that's awesome. And so you had another comment as well?
Yes. And the other lady kind of stole my thunder about this thing about snitching that we took from the Italians, ratting and snitching, that has truly hurt our community.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like across the nation, these gangs, these Bloods and these Crips has blown, where when I was growing up, you only seen it in LA and you seen gangs in Chicago, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And I live in North Carolina. These little towns, you got these little gangs for what? They have no purpose.
Yeah.
But my biggest part is working in the community is I don't have these young mothers telling these kids no. Like the first time you get like, nah, that's not cool. That's not good.
Well,
and
what
I
about
say
the
young mothers
fathers?
because a lot of these, and I say this because the fathers, because I'm looking now, because I'm dealing with the situation myself, that a lot of these fathers in their 40s and stuff, they've been to prison, they bringing it back to the kids.
That's crazy, Jamie. Well, we have a lot of people holding on, but thank you so much for that. And that is such a shame if that's that's what's happening that you're noticing. We got to do better as a community. But thank you, Jamie. Let's go to DJ in Los Angeles. Hey, DJ.
TJ from LA. How you doing, Reece?
Good. You said TJ?
DJ.
DJ. Okay, that's what I thought. DJ. Okay.
Here's the deal. My convictions is not your reality. I think that we have a barometer inside of us that we know right from wrong. But when we choose to do something that goes against your conscious, your psyche, then you have consequences for it, whether right then and there or down the line. That's for each individual to decide for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So Whether I go out and kill somebody or whether I love wholeheartedly, whichever. My convictions are not your reality. Now, it's not right for me to push my convictions on you. That's the whole. I don't like when someone wholeheartedly believe ABC and then they say, yeah, but you got it. No, that ain't going to work like that.
Right, right.
So that's my take on that, whether you're in 10 relationships or one. We have a barometer inside of us that we know if we cross the street when the light is red, either you're going to get a ticket or you're going to get hit. The choice is yours. No difference in a relationship. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's
I
my
hear
take
you.
on that real quick. 'Cause I know you got people waiting. Now, I'm a victim of gang violence. I grew up in L.A., born and raised all my life. I don't live there no more, but I got shot. I don't have. I've had 6 operations, and I know the individual that has shot me. They went through that mayhem back in the 90s. 4 people got killed, and here I am talking to you on the phone. Now, had I so-called snitched, Jay-Z said the streets is talking, had I so-called snitched or told on him, my mom and my 2 sisters probably wouldn't be here because of the havoc that was going on in the neighborhood at the time. So what do I do? Do I take the bit in my mouth? Or do I take the individual off the street? Because trust me, mom and sisters, plural, would not be here.
Right,
because
right.
that's what it is. That gang life in LA, it's real.
Yeah.
Red and blue. Now, it's a shame that we have watered it down so much to the point of you'll take my life because of a color or a street that I don't even own a house on. I claim this hood, but I don't even own a house on that street. It's a mindset. It wasn't until I got out of L.A. and I saw the era of my way, I said, I can't do this no more. It was hard living. So that's when I changed. I could have did it in L.A., but God had, the forces that because some people are scared of the God factor. So let's just say GOD stands for good orderly direction. Good orderly direction got me on the outside of that, and I was able to look at my life for what it was worth. And I said, I can't do this no more. And I stopped because I didn't want to reach. I didn't want to wreak havoc no more on my black people.
Yeah.
We're crabs in a barrel. If anybody have the antidote on violence or red and blue crime, not that you would do it for money, but you would save a hell of a lot of lives. But it's can't stop, won't stop. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm a victim of it. I've been incarcerated. I own my own company. I'm 3 homes into it now. You know, God is really great in my life. I have an attitude of gratitude. I get a chance to call your show and tell this part of my life. Had it been for God, had it been for justice instead of mercy, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Now I'm gonna let you go. We've got a lot of people to talk about. Yeah, had I got justice, there's no way that I'd be walking on the street because my record ain't all that clean. But He's been so good to me, I had to stop because I believe the goodness of God leadeth one to say, you know, I'm not gonna do that today.
Right, right.
More, but just one day at a time. Just don't take that hit. Don't take that life. Don't go against your psyche, and it gets better. I'm a living testimony of it. I don't want to sound too churchy, but there's a barometer inside of all of us. Unless you have some kind of real mental health, you can't think right. Grant that. We have that. Your mental health is your mental wealth. But if you have any decent way of thinking, there's something inside of us to say, you know, I shouldn't be dating her, and him too, because people do that too. You know, I shouldn't do that. But
right.
The consequences is yours. You got to look at the part you played in. Let me shut up. I got to go.
No, DJ, I really appreciate your testimony, and you're right. You know, justice as opposed to mercy, and you've been shown mercy, and you've turned your life around. And you know, I understand completely that there is a survival aspect to so-called not snitching, you know, in some cases. And I get it. You got to do what you got to do to survive so that your whole family doesn't get wiped out. But I think there's a difference between that and turning around and perpetuating that mentality by, you know, saying he's a snitch or whatever else situation may be. But thank you so much for your call, DJ. And have a good day. Okay, Casey in Brooklyn, and I'm going to go to you, Addie, and then Asade. Casey first. Hey, Casey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
So I'm all right. I was very intrigued by a lot of people's outlook on what they consider snitching. so coming from the gang life in incarceration, snitching does not count for innocent people. Snitching is if you're living in that lifestyle, you are not to talk about what you did with that with that particular party or that set or that crew that you run with. You know, if you shoot somebody and mom or pop from the fourth floor sees you do it, she's not a snitch if she tells.
Okay.
You understand? But if
Mhm.
the dude that's running with me goes and he gets caught by the police and he tells, he's a snitch.
I got
You
you.
understand? So
I
there's
got
rules.
you.
There's rules to it. So if you get incarcerated, there's rules and there's laws that you have to follow, because if you, again, you come out of character and you don't follow the rules that that environment has for you, then you will be dealt with. You know, and that's just, and it's just the reality. But it's not just the black culture, and it's not. It's anybody that does that kind of affiliation, mafia. They call it before Bloods and Crips. There's so many other sets, you know, inside, you know, the Nietas, the Latin Kings. There's a bunch of different, and then there's crews that you run with that you don't snitch on your boys with, you know. So there's and it's not just that kind of lifestyle. You know, it happens in people's work environments. You know, some people don't even want. You know, they do something at work. They steal some pens. They don't tell, right? You know what I'm saying? So
No, I get it. I get it, Casey, and I understand that. That's great. I appreciate you clarifying that, because I think that is a good point. I understand. Hey, me and you was out doing what we do. You shouldn't snitch on me. I understand if I'm your co-conspirator, I'm your whatever. Why I would be mad, but I can't get with other people who weren't a part of the crime, weren't a part of the gang, just commenting on an Instagram post or commenting on a tweet, being mad at this person. Because how are you in it? You're not a person who he owes anything to. So why do you even have a position on it? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm more so getting at, is all these people out there that have nothing to do with the situation still being mad at him so-called snitching, whether he did it or not. That's what they believe. I think that is crazy.
For attention, they want people to notice their posts. They want people to notice what they're saying. So it really doesn't make no merit. If he told, you know, then he has to live with that, first off, and then second of all, there's ways to get out of jail, out of situations like that. You have jailhouse lawyers.
Okay, hold on, Casey. I don't want to cut you off, but we got 2 more people to go to, and we got a very little bit amount of time left. So thank you so much for your call and for, you know, clarifying what exactly snitching relates to. Thank you, Casey. Okay, let's go to Addie in Virginia. Hey, Addie, can you keep it a little quick, because we only got a couple minutes?
Yes, I will, and thank you for taking my call. I just had a comment about the relationship piece. I'm 65. I was married for 23 years, and I've been divorced now for 21 years, so yay for me. Having said that, I wish I had followed the example of my grandparents, both who second marriage, and they were married for 59 years. And I believe their marriage worked because they designed the second marriage in a way that served them. Never mind what other people said, okay?
Right.
They lived their life. They had an understanding, and I got this wisdom from both of them as a kid growing up. But when I got married, I wanted to have the traditional relationship, right? One man, one woman. But what I didn't understand is I was in a polyamorous relationship. I just wasn't aware of it.
Exactly.
Okay?
I hear you, Addie.
I would have rather have followed my grandparents' example. Find a partner that we agree how our marriage is going to work based on what serves our needs, and the hell with what everybody else says.
I know that's
Thank
right,
you
Addie.
for taking my
Thank you. Like she said, an arrangement is a nice way of saying non-traditional. And final word goes to, I don't want to say your name wrong. Is it Asade? Can you please correct me from Atlanta?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. It's a Friday. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Okay, we got 2 minutes left, so just 30 seconds if you can.
Good, good. Okay, thank you for taking my call. Yes, I just want to elaborate a little bit on the polyamorous. As you know, I think a lot of people maybe kind of get polyamorous confused with polygyny. You know, but I think because I think even if you look at a lot of people that's in the Christian mindset or whatever. If you look at Jesus, Jesus actually came from a polygamous relationship for Jacob. And so for a lot of people that kind of want to, do away with the polygamy or polyamories or whatnot, but if they also look back in our culture and our history, that's where a lot of us derive from, whether from a polygamous relationship, stem back from Christianity.
Okay, look, we got to go, but I don't know. I can't fact check you live, so I appreciate that. That's something for people to ponder. But thank you for that elucidating comment. All right, y'all. I got to head out. We got Clay Kane coming up next. It's your girl, Reecie Colbert. If you don't follow me already, you can follow me on Twitter, Reecie Colbert, and Instagram. BlackWomanViews.com is my website. Thank you, Yaya, Amina, Stephanie, and Heather. Bye, y'all.